Kurt can really run, but sometimes it's not about how talented you are, or it's really about what you know and how well you learn the game. And Kurt right now has proven that he understands the game. And let's face it, he's been here a year under this offense, so he has an advantage. And he played a little bit last year, but he practiced every practice with us, so he kind of understands, and it all balances out. This is just the spring. It's 15 practices, and come August 1st or September 29th, come August, or what is that? July 29th, I guess it'll be, when we open the actual summer camp, everybody will be even, and the best players are going to play, guys. So I don't read that much in the spring. We compete every day. So you may be running with Taysom when the first group runs out today and tomorrow. You may not be. We got to compete every day. We got to build that attitude.
The level of competition that you're going to have for fall camp with Jordan Leslie comes in, a guy you recruited out there at UTEP, comes in, Devin Blackman. This has got to be a great group that you had to work with. Maybe talk about some of the guys that you kind of are expecting to come in and be part of that.
I'm excited about it. Obviously, with Jordan having recruited him, coached him, and know him really well, I know what he's capable of. I know his work ethic, and so that's exciting. I think return with Mitch Matthews and Ross Apo returning, and then we're adding Devin Blackman, which is just, that's sheer speed, that's sheer juice, as we say, and then Michael Davis will be better, and Nick Kurtz will be better. You will not get better as a football team unless you compete. And like I told Kurt and Kobe, heck, you might as well sit back. Either you're going to sit back for the ride, or you're going to get in the front seat and try to drive. If you sit back, you're not going to be capable of competing. So it's going to be fun come July 29th. My job is to get them ready for UConn. But I anticipate us being a really good receiving corps.
How did that bowl game experience, the loss, shape or refocus what the coaching staff wanted to accomplish in spring?
Well, from my standpoint, the one thing I noticed is we needed speed. To compete at the BCS level, you got to be able to run, and then the thing is you have to have depth. Let's face it, you lose one or two players, and it can change your season. And when you're playing the type schedule and playing at a BCS level that we're playing, and a lot of times, what fans don't realize, everybody sees the game, but you got to get through practice. And what happened to us last year at receiver when Mitch and Ross both were hurt, you're talking about practicing just with 4 guys, and you're running 120 snaps in practice. So, in order to get through that, you realize you got to have depth, and the thing that we wanted to do is really be able to do some things on the perimeter, and by adding a Trey Dye, a Devin Blackman, Jordan Leslie, and Nick Kurtz, and getting Mitch and Ross healthy, and then Kurt and Kobe, now we feel like, hey, we can go out and at least practice, and that's how you get better, competing, in practice. And maybe and I always said this to Cody, one of the worst things is that when you don't have anybody to compete with at practice or feel like you're threatened, you get comfortable. Anytime you get comfortable, you're not going to be successful. That's just the bottom line, because we're not competing against BYU guys. We're trying to beat the BCS teams. We're not. Let's face it. We didn't play a Mickey Mouse schedule last year. Yeah, playing Nevada and some, no disrespect to them or the Mountain West Conference. That's one thing. But when you're stepping up playing 5 or 6 BCS teams, it's all about depth. And I think it's some teams really close to us that's learning that also. You can be dominant in the Mountain West, but week in and week out, when you got to play a top 25 opponent, you got to have depth, because your number ones can't be just the only ones. Your twos have got to be as good as your ones, and then your threes have got to be as good as your twos. And that's how you build winning programs.
I hear you talking about the speed and the depth. How have you found it to be recruiting that kind of speed and that kind of depth here to BYU with the honor code in place and what you guys have to deal with there?
Well, here's the thing I think we have to realize, and that's an honest question, because obviously being non-LDS is the thing I'm asked most. What I think goes hand in hand with the honor code is academics. If you find guys that are academically solid. They don't have time not to live by the honor code because you got to focus on academics. It's when you take a chance on a person that's not academically solid, you can't support them properly and make them successful, because if they're not successful academically, they don't feel good about themselves. So they're more than likely going to step out of line. I mean, the realistic aspect of it is that you got to recruit a higher academic kid. You got to go search and find that pool of player, and then I don't think you have a problem with the honor code. And so you just can't settle just because of talent. You got to search high and far and find that special fit, and then we got to be supportive. We got to be able to support them as a staff, and you know, I have to be held accountable as a coach, as a non-LDS person, as someone that they can relate to if they are non-LDS, and be able to help guide them and mentor them, and that's what coaching is all about.
Does it hurt recruiting that particular athlete when you've got a guy who's got honor code violations in the headlines?
I don't know. You know what? I mean, each individual is you should be judged separately. I mean, does it hurt Alabama when a guy is suspended for taking money for, you know, who's a first-round pick, top 10 pick, whatever his Day, or I can't even remember his name, the safety, but I mean, he was suspended 4 or 5 games. I didn't see it hurt Alabama, so why should it hurt us? I mean, did it hurt USC that Reggie Bush, you know, was accused of taking money? I think SC is still signing top 10 classes. So I guess it's all in your perspective. My perspective is you search and you find the best possible players you can to fit your program. And I think Bronco gives us a guideline to follow, and as long as you follow it, you won't have those problems.